Welcome back to the Newport Mastermind Collective. We're here in Orange County, California, one of the most competitive real estate markets in the country. And today we're tackling some most realtors don't even bring up in the listings pitch, tax and trust strategies. We're also breaking down California's Prop 19, how it lets homeowners keep their property tax basis when they move. This stuff can literally win you listings as a realtor, save you tens of thousands as a homeowner. With me today is Dat Nguyen, a mortgage specialist, and Greg Reese, our estate and tax expert. Gentlemen, good to have you back here with us. Nice to see you both.
Always good to be here.
Excellent. Let's get started then. Greg, when homeowners in Orange County sell, what's the biggest mistake that you see?
They don't often contemplate the tax impact. Some of it has to do with what their future plans are. If they want to relocate, they're going to purchase another home, determining whether or not they can keep their property tax bill at the same rate. And they have made improvements and adjustments to that. It used to be only some counties that would cooperate with other counties. It was like a little bit of a club. It was a little clubby for a while, but now pretty much you can move the value of a current residence. You might have lived there for 20 years, who knows, into any other property of the same or lesser value and keep the current Prop 13 or the property tax base that you have on your property exactly the same. If you go up, which is a change from the prior law, is you could pay incrementally a little bit more in property taxes, but it wouldn't blow out keeping the majority of your Prop 13. So that's the first thing, understanding if you qualify for property tax enhancement or benefit. Number two is sometimes they're not familiar with capital gains that could occur. You're selling a primary residence. The rule is that you have to have lived there any two of the preceding 5 years from the date of sale. And if so, and you're single, you get a $250,000 exemption up of your current basis. And if you're married, you can get up to $500,000 exemption. So if you paid $500,000 for your property originally and you're married, you could conceivably sell your property for up to $1 million. And that would all be tax-free to you. Now, if you live in Newport Coast or some of these other affluent areas in Southern California, you might find that your property is worth $2, $3, $4, $5 million. And so there could be a significant capital gains that most people don't think about until they've signed all the contracts and they're moving forward.
Right. And their sale. Yeah. Dad, what are you seeing in that same regard on your side?
Yeah, on my end, clients obsess over shaving 0.25% off the interest rate, but then they cut a check for $80,000 in taxes. So that's the real cost. In my opinion, realtors who can flag these issues, that's what makes them stand out.
Yeah, that's interesting. So basically, you're both saying it's not just about the sale price, it's about the after-tax dollars and planning. That's a really great reminder. I appreciate that. Greg, I want to come back to this Prop 19 thing up in California. Could you break that down in plain English for our listeners?
Prop 19 is really the kind of add-on or the almost wholesale replacement of Prop 13. Prop 13 used to be that if you pass away, all of your real estate could receive a freeze on the property tax basis for your heirs inheriting your property. There would be a limit of $1 million combined on investment property, but your personal residence could be unlimited in value. Prop 19 is really more about if a kid wants to inherit and live in your family home, your personal residence, they can keep your property tax basis the same if they meet certain requirements. I think what you're talking about, forgive me, I forget the name of the proposition. I'm not sure if it's Prop 58, but it allows homeowners age 55 and older to sell their primary residence, buy a new home anywhere else in the state, and transfer laterally their current property tax bill.
Interesting. So you're saying that if you had a property taxes sell for $1.5 million and buys a 1.2 million condo, the new tax bill jumps to $12,000 in taxes, where 19 would keep them at that $5,000 basis. So you're able to transfer your basis in those transactions. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and forgive me, I think part of Prop 19 actually did incorporate that, so that is part of it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
Transfer as well as who can inherit what, right?
Yeah. So what do you see coming up on your side on the lending?
So we get this a lot. Lenders don't use Prop 19 when we qualify a loan. We underwrite or make decisions using the new purchase price and current rates. But here's a kicker. For the homeowner, that's $7,000 back in their pocket every year is a game changer. It doesn't change the loan approval, but it changes the affordability once they're living in the home. So it's the difference between feeling stuck and feeling comfortable.
For realtors listening, bringing this up should build some trust in the transaction with your clients. So now let's just talk capital gains, Greg. So in the market like ours, where homes have appreciated by millions of dollars or more, what are you telling your sellers?
First, trying to understand what their objectives are. If they're thinking of selling, why are they selling? What are they looking to accomplish? So, and then you isolate the potential challenges. And if it's a capital gains issue, isolate that. If it's your primary residence, there is an exemption available to you. It may not be enough. Investment property, there is no such exemption available to you. So now you have to think about, am I going to try to do a 1031 exchange? Am I going to get out? Is there any other ways for us to mitigate the tax problem? There are, but it really depends. We do find people selling primary residences that have appreciated quite a bit. They are looking to replace that, but at the same time, they're curious if they can tap into some of that equity to generate income. I'd like to maybe, sometimes it's moving out of the 5-bedroom house that you raised your family in and they're all gone.
Yeah,
And,
downsize.
often working or in school or something like that. And they want to downsize. They'd like to free up some of that capital so they can generate more income or pay a big chunk of that new mortgage they're looking at or other reasons. The kinds of things we try to make sure that they're aware of.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the ability to defer or exchange might be perfect for retirees and wanting to achieve some passive income. How does that show up on your side with your clients?
Yeah, we recently had a client in Huntington Beach who sold a rental and had zero interest in another property. They didn't want to be landlords anymore. We talked about DSTs, and Greg and yourself helped them move their equity, defer the tax, and set up passive incomes. For them, it was more peace of mind and not waking up in the middle of the night and going through internet for research. They just got checks coming in now.
Oh, let's see. Okay. So, Greg, in the sense of a real world case, right, a case study, I know that you do a lot of these trust structures to help clients control the capital gains. So you have an example that we could maybe discuss or outline for listeners?
One that just really came through Dad's office. Somebody had been exploring with his real estate professional contacts and different people. He wanted to sell a highly appreciated home. He wanted to reinvest in another home. And they were going back and forth trying to solve the nut. How much money are you going to get? There was clearly going to be a tax issue involved. And so they had to figure out how much less net proceeds were going to be available to reinvest in the new property if they just went at it the traditional way. How much bigger of a mortgage would they have to get? How much would that cost? And so there was a lot of back and forth when I looked at the scenarios people were trying to generate for him. And I just looked at it and shook my head. I said, there's a much simpler way. There's a much simpler way. We've given him a proposal to say, hey, look, you get to utilize your exemption. You can pull money out of the property. Here's one of the secrets of a particular strategy called the Deferred Sales Trust, that you may have the ability to pull equity out of your home before you put the property on the market, which is tax-free money to you. That money can therefore be used as your down payment or for any other reason you want. Really, there is no requirement or restriction on how you use the money. Most people would use that as a down payment. Free up some tax-free money, defer the taxes on everything else, even if you exceed the exemption, the 250 or the 500. And if you still need some extra money to go towards a down payment, yeah, you might pay some tax on that, but it'll be a fraction of what the entire tax bill would have been. I'm looking at the analysis, and everybody has to put on paper the full brunt of the tax problem because they don't know the solution is. There actually is a better solution for that.
Right.
Now he can get into the house that he wants. He can have a lower mortgage, more comfortable payment apparatus. He can have all kinds of tax deferred money generating income for him on a regular basis. And he decides how much income he wants and when he wants it to start.
Right. Yeah, that's a brilliant solution. And realtors that can at least bring that concept to you so that there's some analysis that can be done. They don't actually have to become the expert here. They use experts to do that, but it certainly does make them look, in my mind, as a more effective realtor. Dat, maybe we could connect the dots here. How does an agent actually use this to win listings?
Yeah, here's the truth. Every agent says, I'll market your house better. I'll sell it for a higher price than other homes on the block.
Yeah.
But if you sit down with the seller and say, I've got a team who can help you keep your low property tax basis and avoid a massive tax bill, that's a completely different conversation. Don't you guys agree?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so that's not selling a house. That's protecting wealth and looking out for the clients. And clients are going to remember that.
Greg, what are your thoughts in the sense of that process in assisting these guys to get their listings?
It really can serve as a game changer because my experience, and I was a real estate professional for many years, we got very focused on the transaction at hand. We didn't want any distractions because there's already enough moving parts. There's escrow, title lenders, and all kinds of things going on. You want to keep it as simplified and structured as you can, and don't allow other distractions to come in. For most realtors, talking about taxes is a distraction they don't want to deal with because and the reason people don't talk about certain things is because they don't have a solution for the problem. So it's usually defer to your CPA. Death and taxes, it's inevitable. Talk to your CPA. Maybe he's got something for you. I don't know. I'm here to take care of this for you. But when you elevate your practice by bringing in concepts that are actually going to help them preserve their wealth, that's a game changer.
Exactly.
You get noticed for that. And it really can help agents striving to get into higher markets have a solution to a tax strategy that everybody in that market's going to be staring at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're a guy that has a solution to that problem, consult with your clients and show them at the end of the day, not what you sell for, it's what you keep.
That's definitely the difference between being an agent who lists my house and being the advisor that I trust with my wealth. There's a significant difference. Let's try to close it out here with one action step for listeners, homeowners or realtors to take action now. Greg, for homeowners, what do you suggest they do in the sense of, pre-work and before they get too far down the rabbit hole to review their estate before they sell?
Everybody kind of jumps into the timeline differently when they're seeking help or advice or guidance. When it comes to especially highly appreciated personal residence, you'd be doing yourself a favor by exploring some options before you sign a listing agreement, because some of the things that we talk about where we may be able to help you free up some tax-free equity out of your property that can be deployed further into the next chapter of what you're looking to accomplish. That may not be able to be accomplished if you've already put the sign in the ground and the listing is signed and it's in the MLS. You want to do some advanced planning would be my goal. Now, if it's investment property, we can do the planning all the way up to a couple weeks before you're closing escrow. If it's a highly valued personal residence, there may be an option that you may not be able to take advantage of if you act rashly and you come and seek the advice of the professionals after the fact as opposed to before the fact.
That's interesting.
Timing is everything, but not the only thing, is it?
And Dad, what are your thoughts on that process?
Yeah. Two parts, like one for homeowners. And Greg, I would say review your estate plan before you sell and make sure your trust and title are set up correctly. That's for homeowners.
Yeah.
And for agents, bring these topics into your value or your pitch. You don't have to know the answers, like Greg said. Just saying, I've got the right team sets you apart.
And that's how we do it here at the Newport Mastermind Collective in Orange County. Values are very high, stakes are very high, and realtors who understand the strategies to win listings, homeowners who plan ahead, keep more of their wealth, and agents that put these processes together win more listings. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time, and I hope to see you at our next podcast.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.